All right. If anybody shows up, this is very more spontaneous than usual. And I don't know if my audio is working, but um, I was having a conversation with a couple friends last night. I went out for just to hang out with a couple local buddies. And this all came up in light of Father Eric's Sunday open mic stream. And some comments about Peterson's Sphere in the corner, and Mark was on there and Alan was on there, and they got to talking about naming a thing, common vision. It gets into a lot of corner conversations and things that have been discussed around. I would say a lot of it relates to what is a body versus an institution. Thank you, Aaron. And emanation and emergence. So what and being itself. And I would say that anything is true that is truly being, and what a human being is heaven and earth, emanation, top down mind, and an emergent lower level. But lower isn't really, depending on what you mean by lower. If you're importing within that a certain value hierarchical structure, that's not true. There's a simultaneous emergence of emanating and emerging realities that are one in this, that are part of a true body, which could be physical or not. It's a corporation, a corporeal body, a city, a nation, a set of ideas or whatever, and anything that has unity. Any unity of a multiplicity is a body. Not all bodies are physical bodies. And so and this gets into probably proper naming, and I don't know, I probably need to do another video on iconic thinking and what I mean by iconic thinking. But Clara was asking, because at the end of Chad's live stream yesterday, we were talking about this a little bit, and I was clarifying in that video. And then last night this came up again, the TLC, this little corner of the internet, and how I see it is different than and kind of unique. I was asking these guys last night, and they were asking me the question, is TLC ideological? And I was trying to say no, because my core tenets of what it means for me, I totally think the corner is a body. Yes. What it fundamentally means, yes, Alan, for something to be ideological, it needs to be, it's part of the machine. Think Paul Kingsnorth, the machine. This is, it's beholden, I think, to an eventual Babel. That's what I meant by technological Babel when I was going to write that book, whatever, 10 years ago. It's systematic, it's mechanistic, its progress is construed linearly without any sort of final cause telodic pull. That's why I've been talking about the story of your life so much in Arrival. It has no vision of eternity or a complex understanding of time. It's just this mechanistic linear progression of time. It's fundamentally rooted in the literal, the written word, the medium of the written word, literariness, propositionalism, rationalism, and it is colonizing. Those are the tenets of ideology, which is kind of the same as modern day institutions. And so that's the whole why I say all institutions are inherently demonic, because they head toward collapse and Babel, because they are built on abstractions versus persons. And I think it's fundamentally different than what any long-standing thing outside of, like Paul will say, without institutions nothing lasts, without individuals nothing changes. No, I think without institutions, like, I don't like that at all, because there are bodies that exist outside and beyond the scope and the lifetime of individual human persons. There clearly are. There are family bodies that exist multi-generationally, and those change and evolve with individuals, but also there's a family body that exists outside of time. Anything that is a living body works that way. And what I was trying to describe to these guys last night, I fundamentally don't think the corner is ideological, because it is none of those things. It is not systematic. It is not mechanistic. It is not rooted in certain propositions that you have to adhere to. It is very Christian. It has a lot of people that self-identify as Christians, and part of that is because the world is very Christianized. That's Tom Holland stuff, and it's almost unavoidable that it's not, but yet it's not fundamentally ideological. That's the God of your own understanding stuff. That's a lot of Chad stuff. We're completely open to Judaism, open to I'm I'm even open to ideologues. I mean, that's the thing, is like we've made videos before, it's like not woke, not anti-woke. I would say not ideological, not anti-ideologue. I'm still anti-ideological because it's a principality. It's a spiritual pattern that I think needs to be spoken against. And I'm not going to say I'm for ideology, but there are ideologues. There are persons who will be ideological, who will act in an ideological way. And I'm not going to exclude them from the corner. I'm not going to systematically exclude them from the corner, or else then I would be a hypocrite for the thing that I'm trying to say. I am for persons. So like, and just to make it specific, I think in ways there are many people within the corner who over time have been ideological and have sought to colonize and systematically colonize with too heavy of a mind emanation structure onto the body in a way, like even the Peterson sphere renaming, trying to insist upon a new name rather than on the name that has naturally emerged and that has just kind of coalesced, and just be like, no, that name is no good, we need to do this name. That is I'm locked up. What happened? My screen is locked. Oh, okay, there, it came back. And that doesn't work. And so contra, this is what I was trying to say last night. I said to my friends, and they were trying to wrap their head around it, because these two guys are going to be going. These are two local guys that are great that I'm going to be going with to the North Estuary thing, to Nate Steele in September, which I'm very excited about. But so the corner will contain ideologues, but what tends to happen is that ideologues end up leaving the corner because they don't like it. They can't. That it doesn't bend to their will, and they end up wanting to leave. And the corner is fundamentally, see, this is why the Peterson sphere, why I'd say it is not the Peterson sphere, is because it's really about PBK. It's centered around the person of PBK. And I don't know Jordan Peterson. He was the catalyst. Jordan Peterson is obviously an influence and an inspiration for many in the corner. But like there are people, like I was just watching a little bit of Seaback's conversation with the newest guy that he's been really excited about, whatever the guy's name is. The 3 name thing, not Brandon Graham Dempsey. But he was saying, and I know people that are like this, and people who aren't that into Peterson, like my buddy Jed or Nate and I many times have had problems with certain Peterson things, but I love Peterson. I really like him. There are certain people who are annoyed by Peterson, like that guy Christian was talking to, and they hate watched him so much that they ended up coming to like him. There's some people that still don't like him that much. That's all fine. It doesn't matter. Because like if you were an ideologue, yeah, like Steven said, you'd want to cut off the fringes and you'd want to say, okay, you're out. You don't like Peterson. You're not in my club. You don't affirm all the propositions I want. You're out. You're not sufficiently Christian enough in the way that I define a Christian. You're out. All of that's propositional, institutional tyranny and coercive and colonizing. The TLC is not that, because it's rooted in people, and people, you cannot control what you love. Graham Greene, that quote. When you really love persons, like in your family, you cannot insist. Love does not insist on its own way. 1 Corinthians 13. In your family body, if you are too colonizing, too authoritarian and totalitarian as a emergent parent, as the head of the family, it will crush the family. It will crush your children. Do not exasperate your children. Is a biblical verse. You ought not to do that as a proper head. You have to let the child emerge. Does that mean you don't influence them and talk to them and foster them and try to give them the wisdom that you have given, while allowing them to become whatever they're going to become within the larger body, which is your family? Of course you do. But you cannot insist on your own way, or you will destroy the relationship. You will destroy them as a person, and probably yourself at the same time. That's just, you have to woo and love and cultivate and husband, garden. That's how proper bodies operate. And the TLC, I think, operates that way because it's about people. It's not because like I don't know Jonathan Peugeot. I don't know Vervaeke. I mean, a little bit. Like, I've met him. We're acquaintances. I think he's great. I would love to hang out with him. But even then, like, I don't want to get together with you and primarily talk about ideas. It's funny. Like, I do like ideas. I'm talking about ideas here. But I also just like shooting the shit with my friends, talking about family stuff, talking about silly things, making jokes. And yes, are there gonna be a lot of ideas talked about? Yes. But like one of my best friends in the corner, Sam. If this was overly ideological, we could not be part of the same body, but we are. Like, what is this? This is some idea of like the ineffable religio underneath this kind of religious pluralism that my boy C.W. Weeks talks about, and that is the corner. But it's about people. It's not about ideas, per se, in and of themselves. That is the proper usage of per se, by the way. Not per se doesn't mean exactly. Little pet peeve. All right, I'm not going to open this up, and I got to go. So that's it. I should, hopefully, maybe people will hate watch this and learn to love me. Who knows? And hopefully that clarifies things. Clara. And I would love to do a longer one of these on this point and get into what I mean by iconic knowing, which I think is a redemption of our literalism and rationalism and propositionalism. Because I think if you hold to your ideologies iconically, they no longer are ideologies or confessions, and they are transformed into proper knowledge, which is an epistemology of love, which allows for emergence and progress and transformation. I feel like there's a great George MacDonald quote in here somewhere about "We are God's becoming" or something like that. All right, bye everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.